You have to manage your time to be successful as an entrepreneur. You can't let it run you. There is a big difference between you managing your time and your time managing you, and it will kill your progress, kill your success, kill that dream, kill that journey if you don't do a sufficient job at planning, prioritizing, and producing.
You an entrepreneur, I got what you need.
Hey there, my loves. Welcome back to my channel and CPTV, the place where aspiring and current entrepreneurs can get the tips, the tools, the blueprints, the roadmaps, and the strategies to grow their passions into businesses and their businesses into freedom. If that sounds like you and you think that sounds amazing, then you are going to want to subscribe, because every single Tuesday I am giving you the golden nuggets to turn your passions into the 6 or 7 figure empires that I have experienced being able and having the privilege to grow over the last 20 years. I'm a CP, or Cheryl Perez, but being CP impactors, you guys can call me CP. CPTV family members, love you, CP. And it is time to talk about time, not the time. Did you even know who that was? I think I'm showing my age. All right, y'all. So anyway, I'm talking about time. You know, that thing that always seems to escape us, that we all complain that we need more of. And even though we get the same amount as every other person on the planet, there always seems to be those folks out there who have more of it than us and seem to know something that the rest of us don't know about getting more of it. Well, time is critical to our success. And over the years, I have learned a lot about being the master of my time. It is the most expensive tool and thing that I own. So I protect it with my soul. I love it. I caress it, I hug it, I appreciate it, I nurture it, I do all of those things. And today, I am going to teach you CP's 3 P's of time management. So let's get to work. So before we dive into what these 3 P's are, real quick note, you guys might want to pull out your paper, grab a pen, and start taking some notes, but you don't have to, because in true CP fashion, I am going to give you a freebie. And that freebie is CP's 3 P's of time management checklist. All you got to do is click the link below, go ahead and download that. It's going to be a great roadmap for everything that I'm going to be going over with you today. And it's something that you can very easily refer to when you're trying to hold yourself accountable and stick to this game plan that I'm getting ready to teach you. So let's talk about CP's 3 P's of time management. P number 1, plan. P number 2, prioritize. And we are also going to talk about P number 3, produce. So P number 1, plan. Now, don't y'all know me by now? Y'all know that you will really never truly get much done as an entrepreneur unless you have a plan to get there. If you want to continue to fly by the seat of your pants and to handle time management as it comes along and dealing with it as it's available, you are never going to get anything done. So one of the most critical pieces of time management is to plan. Here's some key tips that I give folks when it talks about planning for time management. Number 1, use and live by a calendar. It seems like a no-brainer, but you wouldn't believe how many folks out there do not accurately or ever use a real true calendar. I don't care what kind of calendar it is. I get people say, oh, I don't do the electronic calendars. Oh, I don't do the paper calendars. Whatever kind of calendar you use, you need to make sure that you are using one and that you are living by that. And when I say living by that, I mean everything needs to go into it. I had a client at one point who was keeping 2 separate calendars, a personal calendar and then a professional calendar. And she couldn't really figure out why she never really had the time to work on her business or to do some of the stuff that we were working on in her program. And the main reason was because when she was looking at one calendar, she had no idea what was going on in her personal life. And when she was working with her personal calendar, she had no idea what was going on in her professional life. That is not conducive. As an entrepreneur, your personal life and your professional life both matter. They work together. And so they need to be included in one calendar. And that calendar is going to drive your actions. It's going to tell you exactly where you need to be, what time you need to be there, what you ultimately need to be doing. And whether it's an appointment with an outside person or not, if it's in your calendar, you need to begin to train yourself to actually get it done. So use a calendar and live by it. Put everything in there. Your hair appointments, your doctor's appointments, your nail appointments. Can y'all tell? I'm struggling with this whole pandemic thing, needing some self-care. But anyway, you got to put everything, your kids' sports appointments, your practices, your concerts, everything goes in that calendar, and you live by it and you ultimately use it. So if you are planning on being an entrepreneur and you are not currently in a role where you have to actually use a calendar on a daily basis, now is the time. Go out. Gmail calendars are amazing. They sync with your phone. They sync with all kinds of things. Go out. Set up your Gmail account and use your Gmail calendar. The first real key piece in planning for time management. You also want to make sure that you institute something that I've been doing for years, and that is time blocking and batching your tasks for efficiency. I had a conversation just yesterday, actually, with a client of mine, nonprofit entrepreneur, and she literally said to me, I do not know how you are able to find the time to do all this content, to make all these videos, to do all the newsletters, to actually continue to feed us with information, educate us. How do you find the time? What does your schedule look like? And I said to her, well, every month between the 14th of the month and the 17th of the month, that time is blocked for me to focus on content for the following month. So no, I'm not doing content every single day. I batch my videos. I batch my newsletters. I batch my social media copy and posts. I batch everything. So from the 13th of the month, 14th of the month, around the 17th or 18th of the month, depending if there's a weekend in there, everybody knows that Cheryl doesn't do anything but work on content. That's really important because I batch it. I'm in a content mode. I'm doing my research. I'm creating courses. I'm working on digital products. I'm working on videos for you guys, but I've only got to do it during that one chunk of time. I also batch when I'm going to check my email. That naturally leads me psychologically to not checking my email all day long every day, which can be a huge distraction, especially when you're like me and you get 500 to 600 emails every single day. So automatically on my schedule, from 9 o'clock in the morning until 10:30 in the morning is blocked off email time. At the end of the day, 5 o'clock until 6 o'clock is blocked off for email time. So I don't feel obligated at any other point throughout that day to be checking my email compulsively, because every single time you get an email, it's a shiny ball and you're going to chase it. You're going to be like, squirrel. Right? Nobody wants to be squirrel. So you've got to block your time. You've got to work in those batches, and you've got to stick to what you're ultimately blocking things off as. You also want to make sure that you're planning for interruptions. They're going to happen. So calculate in that batching and in that block of time, a lunch time, a bathroom break, an interruption break, but you want to make sure that when you're strategizing out what you're going to be doing, that you've accounted for interruptions. And I would definitely encourage you to get ready for each day and every single week and to use some type of project management software. One of my favorites is Asana. My entire team uses it. All of the tasks go in there. I'm able to look at when things are due and actually block off my schedule and plan my calendar around that project management software. And it holds everybody accountable for tasks that I've delegated to my team. I can keep track of what's actually being done, and we can communicate on those tasks, and they can tell me where they're waiting for something, what they need from me, if they need an approval. But ultimately for me as well, it allows me to look at everything that I've got coming up on my plate and ultimately plan and prioritize for it. So planning includes a calendar, time blocking, time batching, allowing for interruptions, all of those things, time management, and ultimately getting ready for each day and every single week by knowing what's coming up. Every single week on Fridays, I look at my entire following week. I know what I've got coming on, and then I go through and I begin to block off my calendar for batches of time to work on things that are due over the next couple of weeks. And then at night, before I come in for the next day, I do a quick recheck to see if there's been any changes or adjustments in my schedule to know what my game plan is for tomorrow. Planning for time is going to give you so much more of it back and ultimately give you the control that you think those few other unicorns unicorns out there have, you're going to become a unicorn right along with them. P number 2. Prioritize. Yes, you have to have the ability to prioritize your entire list and all of your tasks. Prioritization allows you to be able to tweak and pivot and redirect. And when I say prioritize, I mean refining your to-do list, moving the appropriate things to the right back burner, and always asking yourself, is this necessary test? I do it every single time. So I look at my list, and I love a paper list. I have forever and ever. My entire teams, they use paper lists, and I really ultimately keep track of things in my project management. But in my day-to-day things I've got to get done, like sending an email or forwarding something, or after a meeting, or when I get off of a board call, I keep a list. And when I'm working through that list, I pull out my list, and just mentally, I'm looking at all of those items, and in my mind, I am prioritizing them. Which ones have to be done today, right now, based upon the deadlines, based upon the expectations that I've set for whomever it is that I'm trying to get a task done for. And ultimately, which ones can I delegate? Now, when I say is this necessary test, that's exactly the question that I ask myself. Because my list, like yours, is full of things. It's got ideas, it's got research goals, it's got learning goals, it's got things that I've been wanting to look into or play with or toy with or think about. And so I'm able to look at my list and ask myself for every single thing, is this necessary for me to do today, right now? If the answer is no, it gets moved to the back burner, and I'm okay with not checking it off. In the beginning of every day, when I look at my list, or at night when I'm looking at my list for the next day, I'm able to say, no matter what, before I can call it quits, these are the 5 things that I must get done tomorrow in order to be able to function. So the ability to prioritize goes very, very well with your ability to plan. And if you don't use P2, P1 is going to be less effective. But prioritizing what you've got to do and sticking to that is the most important piece. And P number 3, produce. What does that mean? It means actually getting it done. And there are some very specific things that I do in the area of producing that allows me to maximize my time management. So yes, I'm a mom of 6. You guys have probably already seen my video on that. And if you haven't, I'm going to go ahead and link to that up here in the cards, because it talks about how I'm able to juggle all of that. And a lot of that has to do with my ability to manage my time. I'm a wife, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm the chair of a couple of boards. I sit on multiple boards. I'm the chair of committees. I have a full team that's working for me. And really, truly, I'm running a brand of companies. So being able to produce and stick to my production schedule is critical. And there's a few things that I do. Number 1, I watch the clock. Remember back in the planning phase when I talked about batching your time, blocking off your calendar with specific tasks? I watch the clock. So again, from 9 o'clock until 10:30 every single day in my calendar, it says emails. Well, I check my emails, but when 10:30 hits, even if I'm not done with all of my emails, I stop checking emails because I am sticking to that clock. Also, if I've allocated 3 hours to work on content, I turn off my phone, I put it in airplane mode, and I spend those 3 hours working on content, and I watch that clock. And at the end of that 3 hours, I'm done with working on content, and I'm moving on to the next thing that's in my calendar. I also practice a philosophy that I've been teaching for years, and that is touch it once. That means exactly what it sounds like. Touch it once. If you go into an email, what we typically do, if you are not the manager of your time and your time is doing more management of you, you'll look at an email, you'll read it, and you'll say, I'll come back to that later. Or you'll look at a document that you know you've got to do something with, and you'll say, I'll come back to that later. All that does is fuel your procrastination bug, y'all. And you've got to stop doing that. When I check an email, if the email says, please sign this, I touch it once. I download what I've got to sign, I take care of that task, and I send it back. It doesn't get added to my list of things to do, and it definitely doesn't get put in the category of I'll come back to that later. Why? because I ain't got time to come back to it later. My time that's in my calendar for me to address emails is right now, and that's when I'm going to take care of it. So if you look at an email message and you can take care of it immediately by attaching something, by hitting reply, by sending a quick response, do it. Do not save it till later, because what you've ultimately done is just wasted all that time even looking at it because it's not even completed. I also focus on preventing distractions. I mentioned it already. When I've got a time block and I know I've got to do my due diligence, I don't allow emails. But the number one thing that I do, and it's a little trick, I put my phone on airplane mode. Airplane mode allows me to avoid the buzzes and the dings and all of the things that are kind of drawing me into my phone. And I just refuse to allow anything to interrupt me. Phone call from family and friends. Obviously, my kids are in a different boat, and I have an amazing support system, so sometimes we'll tag team it. But you've got to make sure you're eliminating distractions, and you are really focusing on that phone, because that's probably one of the biggest distractions that you're going to have. Also, I focus on not trying to be perfect. Perfectionism will prevent you from moving forward every single time. And this is one of my favorite little tools I have. I am perfectly imperfect, and that's okay. You can be perfectly imperfect too. It's going to actually allow you to bring back and get some more of that time back. Make use of waiting time. I do that everywhere I go. Now, obviously, with the situation that we're in, there isn't a whole lot of waiting in lobbies. But if I'm in a meeting, the meeting is starting late, if I'm on a Zoom call, I make use of that time. I'm working on something, I'm following up on something, I'm taking a quick peek at something, I'm responding to some emails, and that's really important. And the biggest piece to really producing in this P is not starting from scratch every single time. What does that mean? You guys know I'm a process. I'm a systems person. I've given you tons of processes and systems throughout our CPTV family journey. And that means that if I'm doing something for the very first time, including sending an email response to a client, I copy and paste that email into a Word document, because the next time I get the exact same question from a client, I don't want to be starting that email all over again. The next time I can open up that document, I can copy and paste that response right into the email, and I just shaved off 2 or 3 whole minutes of actually having to think of the response. So I'm very, very particular about recognizing when I'm in a situation, I might do this again later on. And if I've determined that I might be doing it again later on, I save that as a template. I begin to create a standard operating procedure around it. And the next time I have to address it, it allows me to copy, paste, and shaves off so much time from being able to get things done. So the P, the produce, is so critical, because even if you plan and even if you prioritize, if you never really focus on actually staying committed and loyal to getting the work done and producing the result, none of it means anything, and you're back to your time managing you. So again, I know I've gone over a lot. Don't worry about it if you didn't get a chance to take notes. Make sure that down below you download the CP's 3 P's of time management checklist. It's got all the information that I talked to you guys about today. And you have to manage your time to be successful as an entrepreneur. You can't let it run you. There is a big difference between you managing your time and your time managing you. And it will kill your progress, kill your success, kill that dream, kill that journey if you don't do a sufficient job at planning, prioritizing, and producing. That's it for me, guys. Make sure that you subscribe. If you like this, make sure that you hit that like button, that you share this with other entrepreneurs. And until next time, my love, I will see you very soon. Have a wonderful, safe day. Mwah! Bye-bye.